And now let me welcome on to the West Coast Conference Insider podcast, the CBS Sports Insider, the one and only Gary Parrish. And Gary, we're going to talk about the WCC here. We're going to talk about what happened with Santa Clara losing to St. Mary's. But one of my favorite things is late night college basketball games after I finish after dark. And I go and I watch whatever game is on CBS Sports Network at 10:30. You watch the end of it, it's over at 12:30. And then we go and we cut to the desk and it's you guys on Inside College Basketball. And somehow you and Roy Hibbert or you and Emeka Okafor are the same height in the chairs. It's my favorite
Yes.
thing. I'm like, wow, how is this? What are the physics of this? Like, how high do you have these chairs sitting?
One of the things you learn very quickly about studio chairs is they can adjust in a variety of ways. They can go way up or way down. So we have directors and stage managers, and I do like notice this when I'm watching other studio shows, particularly when it's a two-person like small studio show. If the heights are very different, it just looks odd. And so
Yes.
yes, they push me way up, push Roy and Emeka way down, and the top of our heads are typically always in the same spot. But when we do the stand-ups, then there's really nothing you can do with it.
It's so funny when you
They
do the
keep
stand
they
up.
keep me away from Roy and even Wally. Usually it'll be the host and me on one side, and then the former players on the other. But every once in a while, I'll get caught in a Brendan Haywood shot stand up or a Roy Hibbert stand up, and those can go viral pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's hard for I feel for the cameraman on that too. Like, how do you frame this up? How do you make it work? Like, it's just there's a lot of moving parts when it
You
comes to the
you
TV
just have
stuff,
fun with
man.
it. There's this one thing we do. I think it's called the 3-point play maybe, and we're sitting in chairs like not at the desk, and like I might start at the screen, and then after I do whatever I'm doing, Roy Hibbert gets up out of the chair and we swap spots. He comes to the screen and I go to his chair. And the first time we did it, I don't think we properly accounted for. I have to get in Roy Hibbert's chair. And it's like way up there. And so I had to like take a little two-step and jump. I actually leaped into Roy's chair and it was on wheels. So it slid. And there was a scenario on live TV where this could have been really bad. But I managed to pull it off like an Olympian.
There's moments when that happens where like I really wish you didn't pull that off. Like I really wish I
As
had,
I was
you know.
doing it, as I jumped up into the chair and it started sliding across the stage floor, I was like, oh, wow, this could have been really bad. I am lucky I'm only messing up the shot as opposed to dealing with a concussion.
And that's one of those ones too where you're doing it. Like, if I mess this up,
Yes.
someone is going to screen record this and it's going to go somewhere, and I'm going to see this the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, that is is something you are aware of. Like if any crazy thing, like somebody has every channel, like it's being recorded at all times, and so
Yes.
if you ever have one of those mess ups, you're gonna have to deal with it. It will live forever. There's no getting around that. Fortunately, I've had very few of things that would get that kind of attention. So fingers crossed. I'll try to avoid them going forward.
I have I'll be honest with you. I have a memes folder in the photos thing on my phone, and it's probably got like 150 just like random ridiculous videos. And there's probably 4 or 5 of you saying ridiculous stuff that we
Yeah.
we can't repeat on this
Oh, let me
podcast.
be clear. I can say ridiculous things all the time. I'm talking about the stuff
Yeah.
where I just you fall out of a chair on live
Oh, I
TV
know.
or
I'm just there's
uh,
there's ones where I'm just waiting for the right moment. Like, something's gonna happen, and I'm gonna drop this like 3-second video of you saying something ridiculous, and it's gonna be like the all that work, all that time saving it for 3+ years. Boom, that moment will have the payoff. All right,
I just don't get me terminated with
I
it.
won't. I will not. I will not.
I'll laugh with you as long as it doesn't cause termination.
It's all from Ion College basketball stuff. So it's if you're going to be terminated, you would have been terminated by now.
Well, we'll see. I think the numbers are good enough where they tolerate some of my nonsense. But if we ever slip, we're in trouble. If we ever slip, I'll be a casualty.
You're like Darryn Peterson, man. You're as good as your problems. You're good enough for your problems, right?
Hey, so far, but that can change like that.
Oh, all right. Let's get this thing back on the
Yeah.
rails. Santa Clara and St. Mary's played last night,
Mhm.
and St. Mary's is a team now where they have, when you look at the metrics and you look at the numbers and you look at the analytics, like they have the profile that is good enough to be able to put them, in my opinion, in the tournament. We had them as an 11 seed before they lost at St. Mary's, and I don't think that you should ever drop after losing at a top 25 Ken Palm team.
By the way, thank you for saying that. I get frustrated with that when it comes to AP poll or any kind of rankings. Like sometimes I'll have a team, not to get off track again, but like I'll have a team 25th and they'll be playing at number 9 and they'll lose by 6, which is a totally reasonable thing for the 25th team to do at number 9. And I'll just leave them at 25 and people will be like, but hey, didn't you see that team lost? Yes, you don't have to win at number 9 to prove you're 25. Sometimes being competitive.
You cover, and like you're better than people thought you were. Maybe we should move you up in the rankings.
Exactly. That moving up after a loss, a competitive loss to a higher ranked team on the road makes more sense to me than moving down. So to your point, if Santa Clara was an 11 seed when it woke up on Tuesday, it should be an 11 seed when it woke up on Wednesday. And at least at CBS Sports, it is, as of this morning, an 11 seed.
Yeah. So I think at this point now, if you're Santa Clara, you can't lose to Oregon State at home, obviously. Right. You're going to be the 3 seed, most likely, as long as depending on what happens with Gonzaga St. Mary's. But you're going to be the 2 or the 3 seed, which means that you're probably going to play St. Mary's in the semifinals if everything kind of holds in the WCC tournament. And to me, even if they don't win that game and they lose to St. Mary's, I think they got a really good shot of getting in. But you don't want to play that kind of risk game just in case, there's something weird that happened. Like if VCU wins the A10 tournament and all of a sudden now that's a 2-bid league, or you get something weird out of the Mountain West, or, remember when Georgia was like the 14th seed in the SEC and they won the SEC tournament in the middle of a tornado and they played 2 games in one day.
The tornado at the Georgia Dome. Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to risk that. So I think you lose. Go ahead.
That would be my fear for Santa Clara. I would not, while recognizing, let's do all the prerequisites of, it's a fluid situation and, the cut line's always moving, blah, blah, blah. I would not advise them to lose in the semifinals to a St. Mary's if that's the way it goes, because what I would imagine is people like you and I, we would wake up that day and we would go, as long as nothing bad happens between now and then, we would wake up and go, all right, same thing we said when we talked on the Field of 68 WCC show. Hey, all they did was lose to an NCAA tournament team in a neutral court. Why should that knock them out of the field, right? Except here's going to be the problem. On that morning, you and I might still have them in the field coming off of a loss to St. Mary's. But then the bubble's going to start shrinking over the next week. A 1-bid league somewhere else is going to turn into a 2-bid league because of some upset. Perhaps the A10's a great place for that to happen. Somebody in the Big Ten who's on the wrong side of the bubble is going to win 3 quadrant 1 games in 3 days and find themselves on the right side of the bubble. Like that's the type of stuff that it squeezes you. So can the WCC get 3 bids? Yes. But I think the most likely way to do it would be Gonzaga, get out of the way. Santa Clara, go win this and beat St. Mary's on your way to doing it. And then suddenly give the auto to Santa Clara, an at-large to St. Mary's, at-large to the Zags. Now you've maximized things. That's the best route to what we're talking about. But Santa Clara is absolutely an at-large play. I just think it gets real nerve-wracking if you take a loss before the title game.
Yeah, where the hard part is they already have one of those tough losses. Like losing to Loyola Chicago is not. That's a tough one because Loyola Chicago has the talent to be better than they are. That thing at the bottom kind of fell out of that thing for Drew this year. But and then Xavier, the run that they've kind of been on of late, I think has helped because they're now a top 100 team. Where would you have them right now, Santa Clara? If the season ended today, are they a playing game team? We have them as an 11 seed.
11 seed is typically going to put you in that play-in Dayton range. So I think they're in that range. I think if they lose before the title game of the WCC tournament, you're talking about a situation where, I mean, you're hoping for Dayton at that point. Like you're hoping it pops up and Adam Zucker tells you that you're going to Dayton. Now you breathe a sigh of relief. I'd get real nervous if you lose. To answer your question, I'd have them as an 11 seed right now. But you take a neutral court loss before the title game of the WCC tournament, I can imagine a scenario where you wake up the next morning and you're still in it. You're looking at all the brackets and they still got you on the right side of the bubble, but then you spend every day rooting for very specific things not to happen, because when they start happening, the A10 gets an extra team in because somebody way off the bubble gets hot and wins that.
Ohio State, like Ohio State has no quad one wins, or their quad one win is like they won at Northwestern in December, and they're like, I think Northwestern is 72 in the net now, and that only happened because Northwestern beat Indiana, right? So Ohio State goes into the Big Ten tournament and somehow beats Iowa, and then they beat Indiana, and then they beat out of nowhere like Michigan State, and now Ohio State goes from the next four out to like, well, they're like a 10 seed now because
there you go.
they just reeled off.
And
That's
like,
what you
I'm
gotta
not
avoid.
that you got to avoid that stuff. And like, just staying in the Big Ten, Indiana is another one that could go on a run. I'm not predicting it. I don't expect it, but could it theoretically happen? That's where you're susceptible in the WCC as a bubble team. You've got all these Big 12 teams, SEC teams, Big 10 teams, those three conferences specifically, that once you get into the conference tournament, you if you're one of the bad teams or one of the wrong side of the bubble teams, but still with a path, you're probably just playing quad one games one after another. And if you can keep stacking them, then you get to a point where whenever you take your loss, it's not bad. It's going to be a quad one loss probably because you're playing one of the top 20 teams in America. So that's where things get real tough on you. My prediction would be, without knowing obviously, if Santa Clara specifically can't get to the title game, they probably wake up the next morning still on the right side of the bubble, but then you better start rooting hard for Miami. You better start rooting hard for St. Louis, hard for Miami, Ohio. That's another one we don't even talk about, the MAC. Like if Miami, Ohio is undefeated in the MAC title game and then loses, they're in. And now the MAC's a two-bid league. And so that's a problem for you if you're an additional lost Santa Clara team.
Yep. All right, last thing I got for you, then we'll get out of here. Gonzaga, St. Mary's playing for a WCC championship on Saturday night. Who you got?
I'll take the Zags just because it seems fitting in their final, I guess, regular season game in this league that they would secure the outright title. I mean, if you look at what they've done in that league since 1998, the Zags have won all but 4 WCC regular season championships, and the only team that has won besides them since the year 2000 is St. Mary's. So it has always come down for a long time to these two schools, and so it's fitting that here we are again. And I will say, like, I spent some time in Spokane earlier this season. Spent some time.
You spent a lot of time in Spokane. I remember
more than I thought, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But it was more minutes than I thought because of snow and ice. I think it was supposed to be a 3-night trip. It turned into a 5-night trip, but I had a good time. Spent some time on a Zoom with Stu. I will say that there's sometimes when you get these realignment stories, there's like some real friction, and I haven't sensed much of that between the WCC and Gonzaga. Like when I talk to Stu, on the record, off the record, it's just all positive stuff. When I talk to Mark and anybody connected to that Gonzaga program, they have really nice things to say about the WCC. They just felt like it was time to make a move, and so they are. And so I can't wait to settle in. That has been one of the fun things about being home this week. I also got snowed in because of the blizzards up your way. I couldn't get to New York this week, so I've been home and just been able to watch college basketball with my kids. Like I don't get to do that very often because I'm in New York so much. But every night this week, we're Grizzlies fans because of where we live. So we're watching all the projected lottery picks and trying to figure out who my little guy's favorite players are going to be moving forward, potentially. But like Saturday night, this is
you're scouting. That's what you're doing.
Oh, we are scouting every night. I mean, I had an intense conversation with my 9-year-old about Darryn Peterson. He's intrigued but concerned. Really, after Tuesday night, very all in on Darius Acuff. My little guy is very in on Darius. So we've been scouting, and so I can't wait for Saturday because I will make a point to put them in front of the TV. And my little guys, they see the clips every once in a while of me talking to this person, me talking to that person. So they stumbled into me talking to Mark Few. So they'll recognize that, and they'll recognize the Zags. I even got them when I was in Spokane. some Gonzaga shirts. So they have the red Zag shirts, and
There
so
you go.
it's familiar with them. And so it'll be a fun time to sit down and watch that.
My son's favorite thing to do is in my office right here. I have
yeah.
two TVs on that wall, and then I have a monitor over here. So I always have at least three, if not four, games going on Saturdays. And his favorite thing to do is to sit in the chair right here next to me, watch the games, and just wait until I'm interviewing someone on here, and he'll just like peek his head over and be like, "So who you talking to now?"
There you
And
go.
this is the true story. So on Wednesday night, on the Saturday night after UConn beat Villanova, we had Dan Hurley on.
Right.
And so, and obviously we're UConn fans here. And so I'm talking to Dan right before we hit record, and Chase like wants to come over and come over and say hello. So he walks over and says hi to Dan, and he's got an opportunity here. Dan Hurley on a Zoom. He can say whatever he wants to him. He goes, "Why do you curse more than Jeff Goodman?"
You know what? And I know sometimes I'm speaking to you as an older man here. That it can be frustrating. You're trying to do a job and you got a kid popping in, and it can complicate things. Enjoy it, smile about it, because as you know, my wife and I, we had one child when we were too young and two children when we were too old. We did not do this. We didn't plan it. I mean, quite literally didn't plan any of it. And so, especially the first, that one was no planning there at all. So my point is, I've got to like do this twice. I got to like raise a child and then like do it all over again. Like I go to my 9-year-old's baseball games, and a couple of years ago, I see a girl that I went to high school with. And I'm like, "Hey, what's up? How you been? Good to see you." And I was like, "So you got a kid out here?" And she's like, "Yeah, my grandson's on this team." And I'm like, "Your grandson's playing against my son. That's where we're at. We graduated together, and your grandson is playing against my son." So what I'm trying to tell you is I remember you go through this phase where your little guys are really into you, and they're really into what you're doing, and they're just curious. And then they will become teenagers, and they will just be staring at a phone all day long up in their room, and they won't even think about popping in on you. You'll have to pop in on them just to get their attention. And so enjoy that. I love
He's learned if he sits there quietly,
Yeah.
he can hang out and he can watch basketball all day, and he can say like, "Come over and see the interview." Like he's learned that if he just sits there quietly, he can do whatever he wants in this office.
That's perfect, and it also makes it more real for them. Like for my kids, like they spent 20 minutes with DeAnthony Melton one time when he was with the Grizzlies. And so they still think about DeAnthony Melton or Gigi Jackson, or, my kids are lucky enough they get to be around some of these people that they look up to because of my job. So they've been around John Morant. They've been around Jaren Jackson. They were around Mike Conley. So
it doesn't register like what they're doing, right? They're just like, "Oh yeah, that's Job. We met him. He's our friend," right?
They do think of it that way. Like my little guy wanted to invite DeAnthony Melton to his birthday party a few years ago when DeAnthony still played for the Grizzlies. Because
I bet if you invited him, he would have showed up too.
100% he would have. I just felt like that was a little over the line, like a little too much. Like as an employee of the Memphis Grizzlies, I don't need to be leaning on that. So I said, no, we're not going to do that. But yes, he would have. But this is my point is my kid sports is a little more real to them, because these are real people. These aren't just people they watch on TV. These are people they've been around. These are people their father knows. And so every time you put Chase in front of a screen and he can just say anything to Dan Hurley, that makes it more of a real thing. It makes it more fun when he sees him on television. All of that's good stuff that it will be great memories for him and things you'll cherish forever.
And we'll be talking about that until he's probably 30. Like, "Hey, remember that time you talked to the greatest college basketball coach of our generation and you asked him why he curses so much?"
Yeah, perfect.
That's all you got. That's all you got. Okay.
It'll be a story forever. And those are good. Like I'm trying to be more aware of this. We have jobs that allow us to put our children in situations other children just aren't in. I don't know that I've always been the best at taking advantage of that, but I try to more so now than ever. Like, for instance, I'm taking my little guys to the Final Four this year. They've never been.
Me too.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good. No, all right, we'll put them
do it.
together. We'll put them together. So I just want them to experience that. I want them to walk around Indianapolis. More specifically, I want them to walk around Indianapolis with Roy Hibbert, just to circle it back to that, Pacers legend. I want them to feel all of that and just see it, and also like to see their dad on stage, doing his job. And so, I'm trying to to make all of that stuff more real and take advantage of it. And
GP, should we schedule play dates for them when we're in when we're
I
in
mean,
Indianapolis?
I think absolutely, because you and I are both going to be busy at some point. We're going to need them
So
to.
my wife is going, both my kids are going, and then my son's best friend and both of his parents are going. So they all got an Airbnb about a mile away from the stadium. I'm going to be staying at the media hotel. I'm not going to be staying with them. Part of it is because I don't want to have to deal with all of the kids.
I
in the
okay,
house
so
at
my
the same
wife, my
time.
wife and kids are coming too, and I actually looked into getting an Airbnb for the exact same reasons. The truth is, like, I love that my family's going to be there, but I am extremely busy during the Final Four,
Yes.
and the idea that I might be up late and the kids are getting up at 6:30, like that's not great for me.
Yeah, it's
So
not,
I
it's
yeah,
not
I
going to
got.
work.
Yeah, I might shove them into your Airbnb if you got an extra room.
We'll get an air mattress, just pop
We'll
them on
get
the
it.
floor. We can have a sleepover party.
We'll
Listen,
figure it out. All right, so now we got plans for the Final Four. We're going to connect our wives and our children, and we'll go work and we'll let them play.
exactly.
Yeah.
GP, I asked for 10 minutes. We ended up spending 25. I think we got 10
That
minutes on the WCC and 15
you
minutes on whatever
that
else.
sounds
Which,
exactly like what I was probably going to do. It
yeah,
sounds like a perfect podcast for me. About 10 minutes on what we're supposed to be talking about and 15 on nothing.
yeah, and who knows what.